Because invariably, if I were not doing that for them, they absolutely would not purchase. So you've got to bond, and you've got to be clear. I mean, practice with people. Go to the grocery store, see if you can bond with a sales clerk. It is an acquired skill. Very many of us feel like, oh, I get along with people, and you will be amazed when you really become intent about bonding with folks that you actually aren't. You will feel the click inside, and this is why we want you to practice, because when you get along with people and they feel like you get them, you can feel the energy in your body. And so you want to, like more than anything else, practice that skill. This week, find 10 people you can bond with. If you don't see 10 people in the world, find at least 5. It's crucial. So that's the first step. Second step is you need for them to identify why they need you or what their pain is. If you try to sell to them based on your ideas, you'll probably end up not really meeting their needs. If you don't listen and ask what it is they're wanting, you're not, it's like going on a date with someone, never asking them what they want in a relationship, and planning the wedding in your mind, for a couple months down the road. They may not want that at all. So it's crucial that you talk to them about that. So very often I suggest setting up complimentary sales conversations or complimentary consults where people can call you. They get like a half hour, 15 minutes of it. You're just freely giving your services. You're absolutely helping them. It's a huge way that I built a 6-figure business in under a year. I did complimentary conversations constantly. So what you want to do is also know that making cold calls, just picking up the phone and talking to people that you have no relationship to, is generally not a great way to make sales anyway. There are a multitude of ways to get so many people in your pipeline that are so predictable, and we'll talk about later this evening things that I can teach you. Unfortunately, I can't teach you everything I know tonight. I wish I could teach it all in an hour. That'd be genius, but I can't smush it all into 1 hour. So once you've got a warm pipeline full of people, you'll have plenty of people that you'll be able to say, so what brings you to this call? What do you need from me? And it can be that they just need pretty sneakers for their child. So when I say, what's your pain? That's sort of lingo. And you may be like, well, I sell, bracelets. They're not in pain. But what you really want to do is just inquire and find out as much as you possibly can about what their need is. It's a few reasons why. First off, if you're on the phone, you're going to want to take notes during this part of the conversation because you'll be using some of their language back to them later. And second of all, if you know specifically what it is that they're wanting and needing, they're going to be able to feel that desire inside of them also, which is very different. Like if you call somebody up and you're like, I'd like to lose 20 pounds, but you don't really talk about it or get in touch with the feeling, it can be a superficial conversation. If you really dig deep and you're like, I want to weigh what I weighed in high school and I haven't weighed that weight forever, and my sister has her wedding coming up and I feel so awful about myself, that's a person who's primed to purchase. And so you really want people to be in touch with what it is and why they are there with you during the conversation. Okay, so that's 2. Then tip number 3, which I'm sliding in there, which I didn't plan on giving you all tonight, but I'm so committed to you all getting what you need. So tip number 3 is you want to empathize with them from a place of strength. So, and I think we've got the phone line fixed. I apologize to all of you if it's been a little quiet. Let me see if I can turn it up louder, and I think we're golden. So you want to say to them, because very often we are our own target market, but just a few steps ahead. We're the weight loss coach who was in pain and lost the weight. So what you want to say to someone is, I understand. And even if you don't have identical circumstances to them, you can still say, I certainly understand your feelings. I have a lot of clients that I've worked with who've been in that kind of pain and they've gotten out of it, and I would love to help you. So do you see, we're empathizing and bonding with them because you don't really want to leave them wide open and vulnerable, which they may be at that point, especially if they're really ready to buy, because generally they're really like they need the sneakers or they need the coach, and so they're pretty wide open. And so you don't just empathize and say, I used to be 20 pounds overweight also, because then they don't feel like you can actually give them what they need. What you say also is, and I'm so glad and relieved not to be in that place anymore, but I understand where you are. Then people start to feel a little hope, which is crucial. Okay, so next step, which I'm going to have to renumber now. Ready for this? Number 4 is, and this is something that you'll need to practice. In all of my clients, I find that this is the place that is the hardest. And once you learn it, it's the easiest. It's so much fun. Like, this is the best part of my job, I feel like sometimes. Even though, I mean, I will tell you, sales calls is still something on some days where I'm like, do I have to? And then I start doing it, especially this part of the conversation, and it feels so freaking good. I feel like I could just be on sales calls every day, all day. Like, do I want to be in service? Yeah. Do you want to be helping people? Yeah. Is it any fun to sit around with like all your skills and not be utilizing them? No. So, the next part, step number 4 of 7, is you want to share the vision you have for them. Now, it needs to be bigger than what they want. So at the beginning, if they've said, I want to lose 20 pounds, and at this point you say, so you could lose the 20 pounds, that's fine, they might buy, but if you really listened to them, they said, I want to lose the 20 pounds. I want to be the weight I was in high school. My sister's wedding is coming up, and I just feel really bad about myself. So think for a moment about something in your life that you're stuck on. It's very hard to see past where you are. Like, that person on the phone just thinks like 20 pounds would be the world to them. They can't even imagine more than that. They're not thinking about going to Bermuda in a bikini, most likely. They're like, I just want to lose this little bit of weight. They're not thinking about how much self-esteem and pride and self-forgiveness they could have if they lost that weight. They're just thinking, I just freaking want to stop eating Oreos and I want to lose the 20 pounds. So what you need to do in this portion of the conversation, first off, be in integrity. If you can't actually get them feeling good about themselves, don't tell them you can. You're just going to have unhappy clients, and that makes for an unhappy life, and that makes for an unhappy business, and it's so not worth it. But most of us, we really know. You all know what you have to offer. You all have phenomenal skills. I look at the people in the chat here tonight, and I say this all the time, but it's like, holy smokes, you totally, I think world peace. I think my next thing I'm going to offer is like some way for us to all work on world peace together, because it's astounding to me, the skills and talents that you all have. So what you want to say to that person is, sweetheart, or whatever is in your own words. That's the great thing about this script. There's so many people out there who teach you, okay, so then say this to manipulate people, or use these exact words, and it all just feels gross. It's like you're a performer in a play or something, like all of a sudden you're not yourself. But it's like, no, be even more yourself. Really commit to what you have to offer. Sweetheart, we can get you to lose the 20 pounds. And we can even get you down to your high school weight if you want. Be realistic. If her sister's wedding is this weekend, she's not going to lose 20 pounds by then. So feel free to be real. We can make you feel better about yourself for this weekend. But most importantly, you talk about not feeling good about yourself. And with the work we can do together, you can totally change that. Then you also want to think about, because you'll start to learn that you're in service. And so you really want to know the people you're serving. So do a little research on Facebook before you have a phone call. Figure out a little bit about them. See what their desires are. After you've got enough clients, you'll start to see that psychographically, all of your clients have the same wants and needs. So you're gonna realize at this point, and this is someone who wants to be on large stages speaking to huge amounts of people. And you're going to say to her, not only could you feel good about yourself, you could feel great about yourself. So not only could this be about the weight, but the transformation we could do together could get you out there with your best-selling book. It could get you on the biggest stages there are. We don't need you to be holding back yourself anymore. I just see so much hope and possibility for you. Now, if you're in the receiving end of that phone conversation, don't you feel the desire and the hunger to receive that? Abso-freaking-lutely. And so what happens next is just about my favorite thing in the whole entire sales call, is if you sit there for a moment, they'll say, how do we do that? It is a completely different thing to sell from a place of buy this, because nobody likes to feel that way. It just feels horrible. It's why when we go to buy used cars, we're like, putting up the shield, no one will get in. That's why when we start to hear people talk about selling stuff, we unconsciously even put up the shield. We don't want to be taken advantage of. We don't want stuff shoved in our face. And so it's an extraordinarily different thing to be selling and to have somebody say, can I have it? Like, can you imagine how that feels? And this totally works. Now, there will be a moment of uncomfortability you need to sit through. I've told the story a million times, but there's someone that I used to sell pianos with. He was very old school, and he'd be like, the first person who talks loses. So you say what you have to say, and then you don't say a word until they talk. Now, I think that's a little bit gross, especially if they're not talking, because then it feels just as awful as someone saying, buy this. But very often, if you have really touched on what you really can offer someone and what they are really, really wanting and needing, they'll say, how do we do it? So, the next step that I'm going to share with you, number 5, is actually the most important part in the entire process. Without it, you will consistently end up giving it comes with 2 Ginsu knives, feeling horrible, and it won't work. So number 5 we're going to get to in a second. What I want to make sure to tell you is a couple of other key things. First off, I mentioned that we would be talking about tonight everything we could, and then about how to get more if you were interested in getting more. So I want to take a moment and do that with you. There's a wonderful little checklist. If you go to socialmediaheaven.com, that's socialmediaheaven, HEAVEN.com/salesstrategy.html. So hold on a second, and I'll put that link in for the folks on Ustream. Usually my moderator would be able to help, but tonight we are winging it. And we are almost there. So what I want you to do is scroll down about midway through the page, and you will see that there is a list of all sorts of things. If you struggle with any of these little things, I can tell you, you got a sales problem. So first off, if you don't have a pipeline of clients that are waiting for you, sales block. If you don't have your sales pitch so that it works, sales block. If you have problems with things like you can't figure out how to monetize in social media, sales block. And I don't mean to make light of it. I mean, I really, here's the other piece that you all need to know. You're like, so Lindsay didn't know how to sell, and all of a sudden she's done 40 million. Like, what's up? Someone recruited me and would breathe down the back of my neck. I worked on Madison Avenue, and holy smokes, we had so many celebrity clients. It was really amazing to learn from someone. But I'm here to tell you, like carpentry, sales can be learned. So if all of these little things you find are not working for you, then, okay, I'm getting that the link is not working. You all are very sweet that you are putting up with all of these difficulties. Hysterical, it doesn't work. Oh, awesome. Care, thank you for letting me know. Hold on one second. So let me give you all the correct link. One day we will all look back at this moment and be like, remember when Lindsay couldn't get anything to work on her show? So it's socialmediaheaven.com/sales-strategy.html. .html. Let me see. Okay, and now it works. Hysterical. So I really just think it's technical stuff on our end, and I apologize. This has never happened before. So when you look through these different pieces, if they are problematic for you, all of these things can be taught and all of these things can be solved. So what I want to offer to you all tonight is I'm freaking more excited about this than I think anything I've ever offered before. So what I have found is that with the people that I personally coach, they tend to make a lot of money. I was on the phone last night with my mastermind group, and I was talking to somebody who's taken individual coaching from me, and she had something that started out as a $20,000 order and had gone to a $40,000 order. And we're going to have a little special guest on the show in a little bit, so I'm not going to tell the news about how well all of that went. But people on the mastermind were like, holy smokes, how do I get a $40,000 order? So what I found is that by having hands-on coaching with me, people are getting phenomenal results. And in addition to the regular phone calls, I've also developed this line of video tutorials and worksheets so that you are learning. I've taken everything that I know about sales, everything I know about making six figures in my first year as an entrepreneur, everything I know from helping entrepreneurs who are all over the map in terms of income, but are growing massively. And I've put it down, and I've recorded it, and I've put it into really easy to use checklists. This is not like fluff that doesn't work. This is not difficult. It's really plug and play. You do what's on the worksheet, you make money. It really is that results oriented. Because I got to tell you, like, you don't really want to spend all your time trying to learn how to sell. You just want to make sales and you want it to work. So I am offering, for the first time at this price, my Sales Foundational Coaching course, which is a 6-week program for $9.97, and you can start with a payment of $4.99, which is the cost of a weekend networking event. It really isn't that much, and you get coaching sessions with me, you get the video tutorials, you get the worksheets, but most importantly, what you get is results. So if the information we're talking about tonight is like, wow, this really clicks and this makes sense, and I like the approach of being a whole person who's happy and makes sales, this program, I know, if you do the work, will work for you. Additionally, I'm offering the Supersize program, which is a 5-month program. So the Sales Foundation program will absolutely get you unstuck and will get money coming through the door. If you are looking to up-level your sales, put in long-term structures that keep a constant flow of clients coming in, keep a constant flow of sales conversations that are closing, and to learn how to sell, the 5-month program is totally for you. You get 10 sessions, you get 10 video tutorials, and the accompanying worksheets. I will tell you that the tutorials and worksheets prior to now have been only a part of a $5,000 program that I offer. So I didn't actually value what that is, but the price that you are getting everything at, I will not offer it at again. It's the lowest that it will be ever offered at. It was a whim today. I was like, they deserve all those tutorials and stuff. Let me throw them in there. So the first 4 people who sign up get a choice of a bonus between either my 6-figure social media secrets, which is 6 hours of all my best info on social media. I will tell you that I had no list and made 100,000 using social media. It shows you exactly how to do that. Or if you would prefer more sales information, you can get 6-figure sales secrets, which breaks down so much more sales information, and it's also a 6-hour set. And so those bonuses are really, really worth it. But I have outfitted you with everything you could possibly need to really succeed. I find that my private coaching clients, some of them are just like kicking it off of past the goalposts. So what I want to make sure that we do also is, I told you we'd have a little secret guest, and then we are going to get back to the number one thing that you need to not do in a sales call to make it work. And we're also going to get back to, I can't even type tonight. We are also going to get back to the other 3 steps in the sales conversation. So hold on just a second. I love doing like special guest stars. I think this is so much fun. So, dum, da, dum, dum. Who will it be? Heather Lopez says, is it Sarah Shaw? It actually is not, though Sarah Shaw would be a great person to have on. I adore Sarah. I think she's probably hanging out with her kids. Okay, hold on one more moment. Oh, here we go. I've got the number elsewhere. I love it.